You know that moment when you're scrolling through Instagram and suddenly you see something that causes the confidence in your business to take a hit? When someone else's highlight reel makes your reel feel like it's not enough? Something really interesting popped up for me the other day when I had my quiet time in the morning as I was reading about the Garden of Eden in Genesis, and it suddenly hit me. Why do so many of us get stuck in the same place with our business? Well, let me explain. Okay, so like I said, I was in Genesis and I was reading about the old familiar story about Satan tempting Eve in the garden, right? And he was doing this by getting her to doubt God's goodness. And we know, right, that Satan tempted Eve. But in what ways did he tempt her? And so when I was doing a deeper dive, it was that he was, again, making her question God's goodness. And he did that by implying that God was someone who was strict, he was stingy, he was selfish for not wanting Eve to know of the knowledge of the knowledge of good and evil, right? Satan made Eve forget all about the incredible things that God has done for her, all the goodness that he's shown for her, and instead he made her focus on the things that she couldn't have. And if this doesn't already start to sound familiar to you, I know that it is something that we struggle with on a day-to-day as human beings, right? We all fall into trouble as well when we start to dwell on the things that we don't have, rather than focusing on the countless times that God has given us the incredible things that we have, or when we're feeling sorry for ourselves for the things that maybe we're comparing ourselves to with other business owners, with other families, with other people. And we're starting to think of all the things that we don't have and forgetting to consider all the things that we do have and taking time to thank God for it. And it's in those moments that our doubts start to creep in and we begin to be tempted. And those doubts can oftentimes, if we let them, turn into sin. And so it's so important for us as entrepreneurs, as mothers, as women within our family. Maybe you're not a mom, maybe you're a wife, maybe you're not married, whatever the case may be. When we start to begin to doubt the incredible things that God has placed in our lives, it can be very easy for us to play that comparison game. And it will sometimes cause us to venture out and do the things that maybe God didn't have aligned with our plan. When Eve was in Genesis, when Eve was in the garden, she was surrounded by abundance. And the serpent, even still, out of all of the things that she had access to, what she was surrounded by, the serpent was able to draw her in and tempt her with the one thing out of all of the things that she could have. It was the one thing that she couldn't have. And the same tactic often pops up in our business, especially when we are coming from a place of viewing our competition. We do the same thing in our business when we view our loyal customers who love our work, and viewing it from the lens of, I don't have anybody, my business is slow, I need to gain more clients. What don't I have, right? Like, we want the more and the more, instead of valuing the people that are there for us, that drive our business every day. We take for granted the unique and special gifts that we have, and the approach that we have that sets us apart from anybody else in our industry. We start to question that and doubt our abilities and our gifts and say, oh, I want to be like this next person, and I want to do this better, and Susie's doing this on social media, I need to be doing that too. Instead of honoring and respecting those gifts, we start to doubt ourselves and think that we're not capable because another person has this one thing that we want to possess or think that we should have, instead of taking those gifts that we have and perfectly serving our audience. We find ourselves fixating on, what is another brand doing? What is that business doing over there? That forbidden fruit, if you want to call it that, but it's that comparison that makes us question everything that God has already blessed us with. We look at ourselves in this journey that we're in our business, and we see this other person being super successful, and we forget, well, it probably took years and a lot of unexpected changes in their lives and pivots and all of these things that happen behind the scenes that we didn't see. When we're like that, it's really hard not to get caught up in all the things that we don't have. And I'll be honest, I fell into this trap even within the last month. I was looking at this other business's launch and questioning, did I do things right? Did I launch Eden and Empire correctly? This marketing strategy that I had, was it not, what God aligned? All of these things, right? Even though what I had was perfect for me, it was perfect for my audience. And I feel like God led me to this place in Genesis to remind me that it's kind of him saying it like this: Vanessa, you are so focused on what other people are doing instead of tending to your own garden. And it really hit me. And I encourage you, that's what happened for me. But what I did in that moment is I took a little bit of time to be grateful for where he has led me, to the fact that I was even able to launch a membership, to have people that were interested in joining and walking alongside me. And I encourage you, when you're feeling those moments, to take a step aside and be grateful. Do an audit of all of the amazing things in your business. One of the things that I started implementing recently was having a journal and writing down everything that I was feeling in that day. And I feel like it's so powerful because when we are feeling moments like that, we have a place to go back and look on all of the amazing progress that we've made, all of the things that we've forgotten that God has gifted us with. We can take a look back at where we were and where we are now and what we've learned in this period. So as you're doing that, I encourage you to even take a step further and write out 3, 5, 10, whatever number calls to you, but distinct qualities that make you and your brand so unique to what you're doing, to your audience, to why you even started your business at all. What makes you so different in all of this? And I want you to take a moment and just be grateful of all of the incredible gifts that God has allowed you to have within this business that allow you to do it so differently in a way that nobody else can do it. And for each of these qualities that you write down, because I want you to write down at least 3, because you have way more than 3, but for each of these qualities, I want you to take a look and figure out what makes them so incredible for you to serve your audience in a way that only you can. How is God allowing you to use your unique perspective to make an impact, your unique approach, the thing that you do that nobody else can do in the way that you do it? How has God allowed you to do that to make an impact? And then figure out, where might you be comparing yourself to others that may be essentially stealing your focus? I think I think that the devil does this, he fills us with his doubt in an attempt to steal our focus away from the things that God has called us to do. He's so scared of you fulfilling your impact, the mission that God has called you to do, that he wants to steal it in any way possible. And the easiest way to do that is to fill you with doubt, to fill you with a thought that those things that you are insecure about or vulnerable about are valid, right? Like he wants to make you think that you aren't capable, you aren't all of these things, and that's just not true. And what ends up happening is you're so distracted by it, it puts a halt to whatever you had been in motion to fulfill, and it keeps you paralyzed essentially, and it could potentially even lead you astray, and that's so huge in your business. So I want you to look at, where are you spending time focusing on your competition? Where are you spending time in your thoughts thinking you're not capable, that you're not worthy, that you're not good enough? Take note of those things and do away with them, get rid of them, and start focusing on all of the things that make you so unique to your audience, to your business, to your family, to your friends. What are the areas that you've been taking for granted by comparing yourself to others and envying the way that others do their approach? the biggest thing that I would say that I strive to do with this community is, while I share marketing and branding tips and information for you, these frameworks are all still designed with you in mind, for you to create them unique to yourself. Because no matter what I could go out and teach you and have you implement and whatnot, you will always put your own spin on it, and you as an individual were designed to impact people in a way that only you could do that. And no matter what framework or business tip or strategy that I could give you, it won't apply to your business in the same way as it will someone else. So we always frame everything in the mindset that it is applied to you and you only, and your brand is meant to be built in a way that is 100% authentic to you and will magnetically attract you to your audience to you in a way that it can't be done by anybody else. So I'm going to leave you with that today. These podcast episodes are designed to be short and quick and simple and to give you a tip. So get out of the imposter syndrome and the doubt and everything, and really recognize that you were so beautifully and purposely made, and tell the devil to see you later. We have no time and no energy for those games. And so our community, Eden and Empire, is here waiting for you as well. It is at materabranding.com, and I just encourage you, if you want a supportive community that will help you during those times of imposter syndrome or doubt, and you're looking for encouragement, that community is the place for you. But in the meantime, I just hope you have fun on this podcast listening to these tips, because these are free and they will always be free, and I'm here to support you and encourage you along the way. So until tomorrow, I will see you then.